shoot, I said that you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. It's a wonderful Friday, Junior. Thursday, if you will. The day before Fight Night Fridays. You know what we do. You know what I did last week on Fight Night Fridays. Now, this is your first time finding the channel. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification. I drop videos daily. But what I did to these dudes last week on Frontline Gaming Streams on Fight Night Friday was something to behold. You want to see what I'm talking about? Let me show you something.
Here it comes, here it comes. Stop.
Oh!
Look at this. The field began with 6, and we're here now.
That's crazy.
One-on-one. Ooh, merciless looking glove. Ooh,
Against Seth freaking Rollins.
And saw what was coming there. Kick to the gut. Break around into a neck breaker.
Thank God King doesn't know how to do his finisher.
I know, he don't know how to do shit.
Yeah, but you dead, though.
And into the corner he goes.
Oh, no, what?
Warrior count.
Right trigger and AR.
Oh, uncorked a big punch. He stays ahead of Warrior. Oh, man.
You heard King's right trigger.
I know.
A to do your finisher.
He's
He's in a possum pin.
Oh, whoa.
Now we understand that, you know, we had to get dipped down ass up out of here. You know, boom, boom, bow. That's what we do. But this week we do have Battlefield. We was playing Battlefield last week. We do have Battlefield this weekend. Now, a lot of dudes, people really think I can't stand Call of Duty or something of that nature. That's not the case. And there's a controversy to think that I feel that it has to be either or. In my world, that's how it works for me. You know, I pick sides. I do that. Not saying that both things can't be great. Not saying that other things, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. The controversy of me with Battlefield and Call of Duty and you guys thinking that. Also, I told you how much each console will cost before, probably a year or two before they even launched. I told you how much the Xbox ROG Ally will cost, the Asus Xbox ROG Ally. I explained to you how much all that stuff will cost. I told you how much the PlayStation 5 will cost, the PlayStation 5 Pro. I told you how much the series consoles will cost. Now, I did not predict the when they went back in and raised the prices. I didn't predict that. But I did predict the actual prices of the consoles. I told you how much the Switch 2 was going to cost. It was going to cost $500. If you're telling me $450, yeah, you got the GIMP edition. I got the $500 edition that came with Mario Kart that actually saved me money. I got the Made Sense edition. I wasn't trying to penny pinch edition. So, excuse me. Basically, that's what you got. I got the one that actually mattered. So the $500 one, like I predicted. But when I told you guys that the new console, that new Xbox was going to be $1,500, and you had people down there, no, King, no way, because they can't sell. Listen, they already got you digitally locked in. They already got people that subbed the Gamepass for many, many years. This generation will still hold tight. right? Do you see the last generation? The last generation actually held on way too long. I am so sick and tired of it. And I'm also sick and tired of that video not doing good. Y'all thought I was console warring. No, I hate the last generation. I purchased this generation in order to be on to where this generation is. And the fact that it is not there, the fact that I got to wait to the next generation to show up in order for this generation to be great makes me sick to my stomach. Right? Because everybody is ditching last generation now. But then we're moving on to the next generation. So yeah, the Xbox, the next one is going to be $1,500. I know so. And the PlayStation is not going to come out. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. You know how it is. I'm going to keep my boot on Kong neck this whole generation. We're going to run it up on these bumps. I predict that they don't come out until 2028. That handheld is going to come out in 2027. But then what does it mean? Do they even come out in 2028? What do we look like? Nobody could have predicted that these two juggernauts will be playing nice in the same manner together, retweeting. This is the stupidest thing. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys are together, right? But again, this is the world we live in. Nobody could predict this, but this is where we are. Now, keep in mind, how far-fetched is the stuff that I've been telling you to the stuff that is happening. I told you Helldivers was going to have ODST in the game. And I was laughed at and told no. Look at you now. When are you going to start listening to everything that I tell you? Because I'm 98% right all the time. Haven't been wrong yet. It's crazy. This is absolutely crazy. We're living in a world that is upside down, but if you see it, you can achieve it, and that's about it, bro. I've always wondered this as an insider, as a content creator. Does gaming conventions compete? Does PAX compete with E3? Does E3 compete with Gamescom? Does Tokyo Game Show compete with Summer Games Fest? All of these questions I've asked myself, and over the years, I just felt like sometimes one wants to one up the next or show the biggest convention, if you will, to bring more eyes upon their product. Because at the end of the day, it's a product, right? It's a product that you sell tickets to, that you have the public come to. So if you make yours the greatest attraction in the world, then that tends to be that you'll have a packed house, and that will just give you more coverage. Gamecom exec says it's never in competition with E3. Was never in competition with E3, sorry, because they all was as we talk now. And has the responsibility to step up now that it's gone. It was more announce your game at E3 and play it at Gamescom. And I kind of felt that way too. I always felt that Gamescom, when it was open, well, when E3 was locked from the public, I felt that Gamescom was open to the public and it showed more people playing games. And as E3 opened to the public, I felt that there were more announcements at E3, and then lessons learned took those refinements over to Gamescom. So I felt that they both worked hand in hand. But they asked in an interview on Game.biz, Felix Falk, managing director of the game and the German trade body which runs Gamescom, was asked about how the show's relationship with E3 worked over the years. Falk replied that Gamescom and E3 was never in direct competition with each other, intended to complement each other instead. We were in a great partnership with E3 through the years, and it's never a competition, he explained. It's more of about announce your game at E3 and play it at Gamescom. E3's last physical show took place in 2019 and was followed by a digital show in 2021. After this, the fate of the event remained in limbo until the organizer, the ESA, announced in December 2023 that EA was officially dead and would no longer be returning. Falk said the death of E3 was beneficial to the Gamescom in some ways due to the added responsibility it placed on the show, but also had its setbacks because game publishers had to rethink their announcements and their strategies. In some ways, it's good because people expect us to be major, global, week for the games, with the highest visibility for everyone, he said. So that's our responsibility to present a stage for the industry to fulfill this. This is also a disadvantage because Gamescom is not as strong in the calendar. So sometimes we had to deal with the headquarter teams being more as it needs to fit global calendars for the companies. And I agree. I totally believe that Gamescom being in August kinds of puts it at a disadvantage. Like, you want to have a great summer right before the summer. It launches the summer. The endorphins are high. People get a chance to see your games. And I think the buzz lasts longer. You're coming at the tail end of the summer in August for Gamescom, and everybody's like either checking out of their vacations or whatever, and scheduling around it is a little bit tough. It's a little bit different. But again, one of the last great shows that we do have that has a ton of companies displaying wares there this year, Gamescom is going to be the go-to for a lot of announcements. I can't wait to see that. But, Jeff Keighley with Summer Games Fest has seemed to step in the place of the absence of E3. Can he make Summer Games Fest as big as E3? In some ways, I doubt it, based off of the fact that it's never going to be open to the public. I don't think Jeff ever wants that to happen. I think the exclusivity of being content-based, being influencer-based, insider-based, I think that its main strength. So I don't ever see it being able to open up its doors to the public. I could be wrong. I want you guys to let me know if you have experienced any of this. Xbox is reporting major outages in certain online multiplayer features. Players are struggling to send invites, send messages, and organize party chats. I would not know. I'm playing an NDA game right now at the moment, and the game doesn't allow me to even talk to anybody. So it doesn't even matter for me. And the majority of the time, I'm talking through Discord when I'm playing through Xbox anyway, based off of the fact that I'm streaming the majority of the time. So again, let me know if any of this stuff affected you. Xbox support put up a notice. Let me know if this is something that you experienced today, yesterday, or still experiencing. If you're a gray beard like myself, you remember a game called Cruising USA. And Cruising USA came out in 1994. And it was based off of Silicon Graphics. And Nintendo had their hands in Cruising USA. Well, the game came out for the Nintendo 64 home console. But before then, it launched in the arcade. And I used to love Cruising USA. All the iterations that it came out with. And it kind of faded away from... it faded away into obscurity, if you will. As arcade racing nut, I like arcade races that kind of push you straightforward, like Outrun and stuff like that. So I kind of missed it. Now, to see that the Fast and the Furious arcade is coming home later to consoles this year, I really realized the moment that I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is like Cruising USA all over again. As a graybeard, as a person that kind of missed this arcade fun games that you sit there, you had the steering wheel, you pop your quarters in, you had a good time. I missed it. And then when I got a chance to play it at home, now to see that Fast and the Furious is taking up the mantle of the Cruising USA torch, I wholeheartedly support this because I do like the Fast and the Furious franchise. I think Vin Diesel and those guys crafted off something that was incredible. So to actually translate that into video games and taking the Cruising USA template and putting your game on top of this is something that is incredible. I could not be happier. The moment I saw this, I knew exactly what it was. And it's the developer Raw Thrills. The game is being published by Game Mill. I can't wait, man. This is going to be dope. It's coming out for PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series consoles, a Switch, October 24th. Is a single player and a 2-player split screen multiplayer. So have a good time, man. Join me online. I'm definitely playing this game. Remember when the speculation was running super rampant that people were telling you that Windows and Microsoft was going to use ARM-based PCs in order to save on power consumption and all that other stuff. And the Surface team was going to be working on the next iteration of the Xbox console and the handheld. Well, now that we know, we have greater clarity on everything, now that we know that was an absolute farce, but we do know that the operating systems and all this other stuff needs to have an ARM-based solution. Being that the Windows Surface Pro actually uses ARMs, you know that they were using streaming. So now we have the new information. We have clarity in the situation. The Xbox app for Windows on ARM will soon let you download games. Now that's a huge boon for those individuals that do have ARM-based systems. Microsoft is also developing new features to enable more games to be played on ARM-based Windows 11 PCs. That's something that's dope. This is courtesy of The Verge with Tom Warren. Microsoft is adding the ability to download ARM64 compatible games to its Xbox app for Windows for ARMs. Windows insiders can now test a new update to the Xbox app and let them install games locally instead of having to rely on cloud streaming. That's huge. Because if you don't have a Wi-Fi connection that is strong enough, you don't have a local connection that is strong enough, playing through the cloud is not going to be ideal. Locally downloading it is the best place to do. Currently, the Xbox app on devices like Qualcomm-powered Surface Pro 12 will only let you play cloud games from Microsoft's Xbox Cloud Gaming Service. The new Xbox update will mean more ARM64 games from PC to Gamepass, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will be available on Qualcomm-powered devices for the first time. Microsoft said Windows and Xbox teams are working together on this Xbox app in effort to ensure its compatibility across Game Pass catalog, and it's also developing new features that will enable more games to be played on ARM-based Windows 11 PCs in the coming months. We know in the next coming months, we do have the Oxys, Xbox, Asus, Xbox ROG Ally X, and Xbox ROG Ally, and various other Windows PC devices that are coming out. But then we also have ARM devices that are out there. So Microsoft shelving their internal handheld to focus on operating systems, user interfaces, big screen mode, Xbox mode, whatever you want to call it. These things are absolutely necessary. You need a smooth transition to these devices as you build a synergy between the PC and the Xbox so that is ubiquitous between each other. And you know that these things are necessary. So Microsoft taking the necessary protocols and doing so is fantastic. I couldn't agree more with this. Now, remember when I told you guys that the Xbox handheld was coming out October 16th? Well, you know, the leak came courtesy of an Amazon leaked situation, which has been since forth taken down. But we do have, with AMD's Ryzen Z2 Extreme is already in the wild right now with the MSI Claw A8, another handheld utilizing the Extreme is out there, and also the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is anticipated to launch soon with a prototype circling around Japan. Listen, these handhelds will not be cheap. I think the game launches along with Silksong. So, you know, Hollow Knight Silksong is going to be like the push on that device, I guess, basically. But what I do see is the price tag is $899. Like I told you, it would be like $900. So again, totally right. Totally called it again. I've been calling the prices for these consoles and these handhelds for the past couple of years now, you know, from the beginning of this gen all the way until now. And I haven't missed a beat. When I tell you that the next Xbox is going to be $1,500, trust and believe it is, because they're not going for the same demographic that you think. Now, Sean Layden, former president over at PlayStation, I think he was ousted in 2019. Former PlayStation boss said Xbox Game Pass developers are not creating value and the subscription models are a danger. This is brought to you by Karn Sarin at Games Radar. Sean Layden has some heated words for Microsoft's subscription model. Now, what he feels that Xbox subscription is by no means the only monthly pay-as-you-go service around. PlayStation and EA have their own. So does Ubisoft. Microsoft changes it by dropping their first-party titles into their service day one. And every single first-party release, from Call of Duty and to anything else they money had, drops down into Game Pass, which is probably the alluring thing to it. And he goes on to talk about there's a huge debate on if Game Pass is sustainable or not. And he said that's not the question that you're supposed to be asking, because if you really wanted to, you can fiddle with the numbers in order to make it look profitable. Now, I want y'all to remember that part, because I'm going to go back to that part later. He said you can fiddle with the numbers to make it look profitable. Latent issue comes from how Game Pass and similar subscription models potentially devalue people from making games for the service. I don't think it really is awe-inspiring for gaming developers, he said. They're not creating value. Putting games into the marketplace, hoping it explodes, and profit sharing and outages and all that nice stuff is just, you pay me X amount of dollar, I built your game, and here you go, put it on your service. I'm not a big supporter of the Netflix of gaming idea, he said. I think it's a danger. He even went one step further and argued that the developer under Game Pass essentially becomes a wage slave. Not every developer seeing Game Pass in the same light, though not since Game Pass deal is built the same. Everyone is different. Citizen Sleeper Designer said that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to make a sequel without the service. I know many indies whose projects have massively benefited. This is something that I think we need to talk more about, and this is going to be mainly my ending topic in what we're going to get into. Well, keeping with topic, game prices should have increased with every new generation. Former PlayStation boss says Sean Layden felt that the margins are getting tighter with games, and every new generation should have coincided with a price increase for video games. Layden, who's the chairman of the company's Worldwide Studios Group, when he left Sony in 2019, shared his thoughts on video games pricing in a new feature by GamesIndustry.biz. Now, keep in mind, Sean Layden works over at Tencent. So he's not removed from the industry, and he's not removed from incentivizing higher prices on video games. So please keep in mind the perspective of an individual that has much to gain from video games going to greater heights in prices, opposed to someone who is removed from the industry as a total. So I just need to preface this conversation that we're going to have based on this article that is here from, VGC. And the author of the article is Chris Scullion. All right. So on the topic of game prices increasing to $80, Sean Layden noted that the cost of the premium games have stayed the same for the past 20 years, despite the combination of increased development costs and inflation. I think it's because everyone's afraid, he suggests. No one wants to be the first one to raise the price because you're afraid to lose traffic. So what you do is you just end up eating your operating income from your profit margin, Layden says. By charging the same price for games while increasing the game's budget at the same time, it's inevitable. The companies make less net profit as a result. There were more sports cars in the parking lot of the PlayStation 1 era than there were in the PlayStation 4 era. Because if you're selling 20 million units at $60 for something that only costs you 10 million to make, that's different than selling 20 million units at $60 for something that costs you 160 to make, he said. According to the article, Layden said that the game should have increased with price every new generation, but instead the industry mantra has been, as long as we grow, even though we're not making money, somehow we can't die. Now, we're going to expound on this greater in my synopsis of the articles at the end, like I always do. But I'm not going to discount his opinion and his insight in the industry because he was at the forefront, and he can give you the thought process from the PlayStation 1 era to the PlayStation 4 era, and can tell you that financially, a lot of the executives, because they're the ones parking sports cars in the parking lot, had a greater profit margin and they made more money. He's talking from an executive standpoint, not from the common worker standpoint. Now, the biggest takeaway from all that conversation that we did have, with a lot of people coming out trying to derail what is considered the Netflix of gaming, Gamepass, looking at the sustainability, like you got a chance to see a high level executive that works over at Tencent that actually makes games in the industry and money hats everything. They don't like that. They would not like a subscription service because they don't want to put their games in a subscription service. If subscription models replaces the old metrics and the old models, Sean Layden himself becomes defunct. So you got to look at it from that aspect. If Sony was doing this, would he be thinking that Sony is doing a great thing? I don't know. I see, people don't ask him the proper questions. And I'm glad he did say that there's ways for you to fudge the numbers in order to look successful. Because I thought that PlayStation was doing it for years. But if you were so great, and this is for nobody, this is just for everybody. And think about it. If you were so great at your job, why did you get fired? Right? And this is no shot to him, I'm talking about everybody. So I honestly think he understands. If Game Pass blows up to the projected 75 million subs, and they do raise the price at some point to $30, at 75 million subs at some point, and he's Tencent. Tencent is going to be forced to place their games into these services. At some point in time, Sony is going to be forced to place their games into their services day and date. Now, I don't think they have enough studios to do so. They will have to go OEM on hardware in order to make that happen, because you have to release a burden in order to take on more duties. I don't think they have enough studios in order to churn out the games that is necessary, like Xbox with the 36 studios, in order to make the games at a rapid pace. Now, remember, I told you it was going to be like a Pacquiao fight at some point in time. And did I ever think that these guys would play nice with each other? No, I hope so. We've always had that one world, one ring kind of thing that we've always wanted to see. And now we're at that precipice of it, right? Sony does need to go day and date on PC. I do think that that helps them. Xbox has already been there. They already established that pipeline. They don't miss the zeitgeist in there. So dropping games inside Game Pass really doesn't hurt them to the extent of a lot of people think, especially with the play early access upgrade paths that actually help out the bottom line, and then move into a sustainable ecosystem, which is, $5 billion in a quarter. That shows you great growth in those sectors, using PC to leverage yourself, and then taking those games and placing it on PlayStation and Nintendo. They haven't even invaded the Nintendo ecosystem to the extent that is necessary to show that level of growth. And I think that is the next step. Because we've been watching all these directs, expecting and waiting for Microsoft to put their foot inside the Nintendo Switch 2. Pause. With the PlayStation now taking control over publishing, in the sense that why should they let 505 publish a game that they can just publish and get that bread? 70% is better than the percentage cuttage that they was given. So again, I see these things happening. Now, to Battlefield and Call of Duty. A lot of people think that I hate Call of Duty. I don't hate Call of Duty. A lot of people think that Call of Duty for me is like the worst, and I think that Battlefield's going to outsell it. I don't believe in this universe that Battlefield will outsell Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty have an installed user base that is insane. I think Call of Duty will continue to do the numbers that it does. But competition breeds excellence. And I do believe Battlefield will bring out that level of competition. And now I do know that the next Call of Duty, it will be on will be on next gen hardware and current gen hardware only. In order to have a greater utility when it comes to how the games look. You see what Battlefield looks like. You see how Battlefield plays. That ability, those things are different. It makes it a different beast. So that's my only thing. I want that level of competition from the giddy up. I want this year for them to go head to head. But I guess this is the year that Battlefield needs the bare fangs and Call of Duty needs to have that fight back. Not saying that it's going to take a back step or a loss, but understand, I honestly believe that this is necessary. Now, if you watched all of this stuff today, you knew that some of the videos wasn't coinciding with what was actually going on, right? Like what I was talking about. You saw a lot of ninja stuff because I'm in a ninja type mode. So if you saw a lot of ninja stuff and you're amped for the ninja stuff, I'm trying to get y'all amped. Ragebound is out. Shinobi is coming. Pause. And you have Ninja Gaiden 4 that's about to hit in October. This is the year of the ninja. We're going to Tokyo and I'm actually feeling all of that energy, if you will. Every last drop of it. So I'm getting, hyped at this moment. The road to Tokyo has been a splendid thing. So again, this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Tomorrow's Fight Night Friday. Pull up the Frontline Gaming streams where we get it in. We make it happen. And I do want to thank everybody that is a part of that. You can come, jump in the Discord. If you don't have to be a member to play, you can just come and play. But if you are a member and you do want to play something, then your member carries weight. Your membership carries weight. So I'm going to tell you to do what I always tell you to do. I want you to go where game is game and win is win. And I'm going to tell you like I always tell you. Try to play the Game Pass.